is only one perfect solution, but there are clues that will try to trick our team.
Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb and welcome to Shapes and Colors. This module just got recently released last week ago, I believe. It was a manual challenge, and this one is actually fairly simple and I quite like this concept a lot. It is a puzzle module and it is actually quite a nice diffuser solo. So let's get into how this puzzle actually works before we start soloing it on our own. So, the current clue will be displayed as a typo at the top of the module. You can cycle through each clue present on the module using the up and down arrow keys to the right of it. So in this case, the clues will be up here at the top. And we have these up and down arrows here, which we can cycle, as you can see here. And what we're going to essentially be doing here is we're going to be able to place stuff in our grid down here in this bottom grid with these three different icons. In this case, we've got three different colors: red, yellow, blue, and three different shapes: circle, triangle, and diamond. These are going to be the three different shapes and colors that we need to be putting in here. Now, that's what we have here at the bottom of the module. So we're going to disarm the module by arranging the 3x3 grid in such a way that it fulfills every condition. And the couple of rules that we have here is we need to obviously make sure that it follows all of our clues that are given to us, and these other rules too. All clues that be present on the module fit into the grid, and each space is filled with a unique color and shape combination. So essentially what's going to be happening here is that if you can already think about it, red has to have all three of these shapes, yellow has to have all three of these shapes, and blue has to have all three of these shapes present somewhere in the grid. So there's going to be exactly one of each color and shape combination. So that's going to make it a little bit easier later on. So this is what we're going to essentially be doing here. And we have a couple clues that will give you some examples here. A clue must fit onto the grid at least once to fulfill that clue. And the clue above tells you that there is a yellow triangle in the top left and a red circle in the center. And the way that it tells you this is the way that it is shaped, essentially. Now, one of the nice things about this mod here is that in cases like this, for example, the one that I have right now, is it's not, the shape that you're looking at right now is not able to be rotated ever. It's never going to be rotated, it's never going to be horizontally flipped. The shape that you see is the shape that you get. So we know for a fact that based off of this position, the only spot in this 3x3 grid where this shape would fit with this clue would be at this exact same position. So we know for a fact the yellow circle is in the middle here, as you can see. It's similar to this little S, like almost like Zulu shape. Yes, whatever it is. But we have Alpha 1, Bravo 2, Bravo 1, Bravo 2, Bravo 3, then Charlie 3. And as you can see, it can only fit in those spots. That's quite helpful. In cases like these, for example, where we have this little shape, it can either go here, or it can either go here. So in this case, Alpha 1, Bravo 2, Bravo 3, or it can be Bravo 1, Charlie 1, Charlie 2, Charlie 3. That's the way that these clues are going to be fitting into this puzzle. And that's what makes this model a little bit simple to do. There's always going to be this one sort of big clue that'll give you something guaranteed, and it'll help you start filling in the grid. But for the rest of the clues, you kind of have to figure it out on your own. So let's take a look. Now, one thing that we can already determine here is that it's going to be there's going to be a red at least in the bottom row here. In this case, that's going to be what's marking it here. Because we don't know if it's going to be this column, or this column quite yet. Just from the shape that we've determined here, we don't know which column it corresponds to quite yet. That's why we need to keep looking around here. Now, this one actually is a nice clue here, because what we can essentially do here is one thing that we can already determine is normally with this shape there would be two different possibilities, in this case the Alpha column and Bravo 3, or the Bravo column and Charlie 3. This would be where the shape would be able to fit in. However, it does not work in the Bravo column and Charlie 3 because of the fact that if the triangle were to go in the middle of this position here, it would already contradict a clue that we had from beforehand. So we know for a fact that therefore it's going to have to be going in this position where it's in the Alpha column and Bravo 3. So therefore, what we can determine is the shape of the triangle has to be here, and the color of yellow has to be here. Note that you can obviously select and deselect each individual color. You do not have to select a color and a shape combination each individual time. You can simply just input a shape by selecting the shape itself, by itself with no color, or you can simply input a color with no shape selected, like I've done here. So therefore, we have determined another clue right here, and this is going to help us later on. So let's take a look. Next up, we have a red circle. Now, we know for a fact that it's going to be in the top. It's going to be in the middle column here. We don't know exactly which position it's in. Obviously, we've determined that it's not going to be in the dead center. We don't know quite yet, so let's keep looking around. Here's another one. So the red circle above us tells so the next clues are partial clues that only give some information. In this case, the red diamond is either in the center or the bottom middle, while the yellow diamond is either in the bottom middle or bottom right. In this case, this gives us the clues based off of the shape, because it cannot be rotated and it cannot be horizontally flipped. It's going to be the exact same shape. So there's only going to be like 2 or 3 spots which each of these shapes can go into. So in this case, as you can see in this example here, from the previous clue that we had, the red diamond was not able to go in the Bravo 2 position because of the fact that we've already filled in a red circle from beforehand. So therefore, we know for a fact that the red diamond is going to be going in Bravo 3. This is exactly what we're going to be doing with this example. The yellow circle is already filled in here, and that would be a place where the shape would correspond to. So therefore, we can move it down once, and we can then put the yellow diamond at Bravo 3. And another clue that we've already determined for ourselves here is if we take a look, we already have a yellow circle, a yellow diamond, and we know for a fact that this bottom left position is going to be yellow, and there's only 3 different shapes which this can apply to. We know for a fact that bottom left is a yellow triangle, just based off of these 2 clues. So let's continue on. Next up, we have a circle and a triangle. Not too much to give here. It's either going to be in it can be in several different spots. This is going to be one of these clues that we're going to have to pay attention to last. It could be in this position up here, in this case alpha 1 Bravo alpha 1 alpha 2, or it could be anywhere in this column over here. We don't quite know yet. So let's continue on. Let's take a look at some clues that we can do for us here. Now, this one's an interesting one. If we take a look here, this little shape here would be corresponding in a couple positions, and we could already determine this one actually really nice. So we would have to follow this path. In this case, it's a little J piece or little corner piece. This one does not work because of the fact that these positions have already been determined to be yellow. So in this case, the Charlie 1, Charlie 2, Bravo 2 does not work for the red. The Charlie 2, Charlie 3, Bravo 3 has already been determined yellow, so no, it cannot be that either. And the only other position where this works that it does not have any yellows whatsoever would be the Bravo 1, Bravo 2, and the Alpha 2 right here. So now, therefore, we have determined that this is a red triangle, just because of the fact that this is the only position that this works in. Alright, so we're back at our original clue here, and another thing that we've determined here is that both of these positions at the bottom are now yellow, so therefore we know that this position is red. We don't know exactly what shape it is yet, but we will figure that out momentarily. We still don't have enough information for this clue here. I don't believe so anyways. So it's either going to be in Bravo 1 or it's going to be either Bravo 1 or Charlie 1. We don't know exactly which position it's going to be in yet, but we do have some information. We've already determined that one. We now know that this is going to be our red circle here, because of the fact that this is the only available spot in this column here where that would be able to fit. Yellow circle's already been determined. Yellow diamond's already been determined. This was the last remaining spot available for us. That would fit this clue. So therefore, we can now input this into the mod. And now, taking a look around, it is possible that we could happen to have, well, one thing that we can already, one other thing that we can already also determine is we can also determine that this is going to be a red diamond because of the fact that we already have 2 other shapes that are red. So now one other thing that we've determined here is we know for a fact that everything else is going to be blue here. I do not mean to select the diamond with this. We know for a fact that everything else is going to be blue here. If I can get rid of this stupid diamond. Because of the fact that we need to have a unique color and shape combination here. That's going to be important for us. So now we need to figure out where exactly these clues can go in, or perhaps we can just get them willy-nilly. Now, immediately one thing that's screaming at me is because of the fact that we have a circle and a triangle. This would apply here if we were to put the blue circle here, and there wouldn't be any problems as far as I'm aware. So another clue that we need to apply also is we need to apply the triangle. The triangle has to now go in the top right position because of the fact that that's going to be one of the 2 remaining spots, and also because it wouldn't work here. So therefore, this is why the circle has to go here, because if we were to do the triangle here, we would never be able to get this position ever. That just wouldn't work because of the 2 triangles right here. It has to be this. So hopefully that makes sense. And finally, based off of our previous knowledge here, each space must be filled with a unique color shape combination. We know for a fact that this one is going to be our blue diamond. So now, once we have inputted everything into the 3x3 grid, we're going to hit submit. It'll run through all the clues, highlighting green based off of where these clues were indeed indicated at. And as you can see, everything is making sense. And then finally, it'll input into the module each individual color and shape combination. And just like that, the module will indeed solve. So that's all there really is to it. Now this is a nice one. This one's going to be quite nice. We've got a yellow triangle up in the top right. We know that for a fact just based off of the shape. This is the only position where this specific shape would fit. And this one's actually going to be quite easy probably. We've got a blue circle in the dead center. We've got a blue diamond in the bottom left. And we have a red diamond in the bottom right. Okay, let's continue on. Okay. Now this clue up here with the X through it, means that this color is not present at this specific time. So, one thing that we can already determine for a fact is that we know for a fact that this shape only works in this position. So in this case, we've got Charlie 1, Charlie 2, Bravo 2, Bravo 3. And in this case, the reason why, actually, no, that is not true. It could actually work in this position as well, because if we were to do it at Bravo 1, Bravo 2, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, this technically counts as not red. I don't know what I was thinking there. So we don't know anything about that information quite yet. So let's continue on, and let's actually continue looking here. Okay, this one's a bit interesting. Now, this one's actually going to be, not quite helpful. We don't know quite yet. Let's continue on. Yes, this one is going to be a circle. We know that for a fact. And this actually does apply to the clue that we had from beforehand. This is therefore yellow. Or maybe it could be this position as well. We don't quite know yet. So actually I'm going to remove this too. This one's actually a bit interesting. And it actually is... that's rather quite interesting. Well, for this one, we actually do know that it can't be in this little 2x2 grid because of the fact that the blue circle exists. We can't have it. This one doesn't work because of the fact that this diamond exists. It cannot be a diamond here. It can't be this bottom right one because of the fact that we already have a red diamond in this position. So therefore, we have already determined that this one is going to be the red circle right here, simply because of the fact that each of the positions where this 2x2 grid could potentially go here, this is the only one that would work. And this is not a diamond, this is a circle, so therefore this would work as a clue here. So let's continue on. Okay. There's one clue I think that would help me. Okay, so the yellow and the triangle cannot go here. And actually is going to be forced to go here. The reason being is because we need a yellow on the top. And in this case, if we were to put this at here, where the blue circle is, this would not work because it's a blue circle. We need to have yellow at the top. So this is the only position that actually works because of the fact that the other two positions already have triangles in them where they would normally be yellow. So we know for a fact that a triangle is going to go here, a yellow is going to go here. And let's continue to take a look around at our other clues here. Now we've determined that this is going to be a circle. This is indeed going to be our circle because of the fact that if we were to place this at Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Bravo 2, Bravo 3, and a Charlie 2, the yellow would not work here because we've already determined that this is a red circle here. We've already determined that. And now, what we also need to remind ourselves is the fact that we've already determined two of the colors for the circle variants. So this is going to be yellow right here. And we already know that this top left is going to be yellow. So we know that this is going to be a yellow diamond. And as you can see, it's kind of starting to come together. We know for a fact that diamonds are done. And we know for a fact that we need to figure out the two colors of the triangles. We know that this one's going to be a triangle, but we don't know the colors quite yet. So let's make sure that there isn't anything that we're missing here. Yes, here is where this last clue comes into play here. So we know for a fact that it does not correspond, these positions do not correspond to the top right, middle, and bottom middle because of the fact that red is in this current position over where it would be in the not red. We don't want that to happen. So we know for a fact that instead it's going to be applying to this position. It's going to be applying to the top middle, middle left, and the bottom left. And therefore, this means that this is our blue triangle. And now, based off of information that we've already determined here, this is now going to be a red triangle. Let's hit submit. And just like that, there we go. So it's a fairly simple module to cover. I'm going to do 2 more examples on my own, see if you guys can follow along with me. And I'm going to do this much quicker. So, but this is just to give you some perspective of how this puzzle actually works. So this is a yellow diamond. This is a blue diamond. This is a yellow circle. This only works up in this position because of the fact that we cannot, the blue diamond has already been predetermined at this other position. Quite easy. Ooh, okay. So it could be either here or here. It actually could be over here as well, so we don't know anything about that. Has to be a yellow down here. We know that for a fact. We did not have any clues about that beforehand. Not yellow and a red triangle. Let me look at this. It only works here because of the fact that the blue diamond is not yellow, and this is the only other position that actually works here that would actually be able to have a red triangle. This position does not work because of the fact that a red triangle is not available to go here. It needs to be red, but it wants yellow in this case. So we know for a fact that red triangle is going to be going down here. And we know for a fact that this one actually is yellow triangle because of the fact that we've already had that 2 other shapes from beforehand. We know that this one has to be blue because of the fact that this is the only other case where this would apply. And we know that based off of the other 2 shapes, this is going to be our blue triangle, as a matter of fact. And let's make sure that we haven't missed any other clues. This has to be our diamond, and this has to be our circle. These are the only 2 spots where it would work. The rest of them simply do not make sense. We know for a fact that the one that we're missing for the diamond is going to be red, and we know for a fact that we're missing red circle as well. There we go. Starts filling in everything. Okay, let's take a look at one final example here, and let's cruise through this. Now, the nice thing about having a full grid here is that these are going to be guaranteed clues. So let's go here. But yes, making sure that you pay attention to the shapes is very important. They will never be rotated or reflected in any way, shape, or form. This is going to be trying to put the shape into the 3x3 grid at some point. And it is quite simple to do. So, thank goodness for that. Okay, we've got red diamond here. Does not work in this position because of the fact that blue has already been predetermined from the previous clue. Red has to be here because it does not work in this position. Yellow circle has already been determined. Next up, has to be here. 2 more clues determined for us. Blue circle here because of the fact that blue has already been determined here, and we need to place red triangle in the top right if we were to do that position. And we've already determined blue triangle as well. We also know that red circle is going to be here because that was the one clue that was missing for us when it came to the shapes and the specific color. Same thing with this one. The top right is going to be the blue diamond. It's the odd one out that we're missing here. And we know for a fact that these last 2 are going to be yellow. We don't know exactly which colors they're going to be quite yet. Okay. A diamond and not blue. Well, it's got to be this one. It's got to be up here in the top left. So therefore, we're going to simply put the diamond up here. And this, therefore, means that this one has to be the yellow triangle. Alrighty. Apologies for taking so long to explain that, but there we go. And just like that is a solved bomb. A fairly simple module to understand. It's not too hard to do, and it's actually quite a nice solo once you understand how it works. And I know it took a while to explain how some of these works. I just wanted to make sure that I was explaining it in a manner that made sense. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.